Hello, hello. Let me know if the audio is good. Music too loud, voice too loud. Alright. So I wanted to do a little Christmas stream. I just want to generate a couple of Christmas trees in Godot. It's gonna be a couple hours, I think maybe 3 or 2 hours. And then I got a Christmas dinner. And maybe I'll finish it up tomorrow. We'll have to see. Alright, thank you. Hello guys, hello. Yes, I'm still alive. I know I haven't been posting a lot recently, but we'll get back into things, don't worry. So, for this Christmas tree, I want to procedurally generate some Christmas trees, just program around a little bit, do a little bit of visuals, make some ornaments. I don't know, sounds like a fun stream idea. No, I'm currently on Windows, or I'm currently on my Steam Deck actually, it's Linux, Arch Linux. And I'm loving it. Alright, let's get started. I'm just going to set up a basic scene where the tree will generate, so we have something to look at. Creating a 3D scene. And the floor. And I'll quickly just create a grid. I can use this one. Hello, hello. Let's save this scene as well. I'll just call it main. And let's make sure this texture is triplanar. That's better, and that's where our tree will be. Oh. And let's set up a camera. I'm actually gonna make this project portrait. Let's see if this will fit on my monitor. That's a little too big. Let's go 1000. Yeah, OS doesn't really matter for Godot though. Windows and Linux, they're both exactly the same. You can move projects across, no problem. Nothing is OS specific in Godot, it's all integrated. Alright, that looks like a nice window size. Let's set up the lighting. I'll just add in the default environment and sun and drop them in a little node. And then yeah, so that's where the tree will be. I'm gonna create a little turntable for the tree, so it's always turning around, so we can see it from all sides when we're generating it. So I'll just add another node 3D. Oh. Call it turn table. Add a script to that. And I just want this script to turn around this node. So I'm gonna export a variable. Turn speed, and I'm just gonna rotate it, the Y, by the turn speed, times delta. And then I'll add in a little cube, so we can see if it's actually turning. This can be the base of our tree. Let's see. So it is turning super slowly. Let's make it a little faster. Alright, beautiful. So let's get started on the tree. Let's add the tree into the turntable. And we're just gonna start by generating a bunch of variables like height, width, density, and then we'll add in the visuals after we've generated the data for the tree. So this node is gonna hold our main script with all the data, this tree node. Oh. Yeah, not like that, hold on. Into script and call this tree. So this one is going to have a height, and we'll just set it to 1 at the beginning. Width, and we'll just also set it to 1 in the beginning. We're probably going to turn this into a function, so we can have different widths at different parts of the tree, so it's just not just a giant cone, but you'll see what I mean in a minute. Hello guys, how's you guys' Christmas? Try to make a game on my phone. I probably could. The Android editor is pretty mature now. It's just gonna give me a lot of neck strain. I did that video creating on my Steam Deck, on the actual display of my Steam Deck, gaming Godot, and that one gave me a lot of neck pain, just from looking down at the Steam Deck all the time. Let's see, what's the first thing we want to generate here? It's probably gonna be the trunk, and I probably want a model for this, so let's open the Blender. Let's create a quick cylinder. So if I'm gonna change the trunk height, I'm just gonna scale this up in Godot. But you're not gonna see it anyway, because it's gonna be completely covered, of course, by all the pine cones. Yeah, so it doesn't really need a lot of detail. You just want to make sure it's not a super straight cylinder. That will do nicely. We'll do the material in Godot. So let's export this. Projects Godot 4.33 assets. Trunk. So within the tree we'll add in the trunk. Ah, beautiful. So right now it's 2 meters high. So let's just set the size of the trunk first. We'll drop the node into the script so we can access it. And then on the... we'll create a render function. This will actually set all the variables. So in the ready function we'll generate all the variables, and in the render function we'll create them in the actual scene. So we're gonna scale that trunk to the actual height. So scale y equals 0.5 times height. Because the default height is 2, so we need to go 0.2 to get 1, or 0.5 to get 1, and then times the actual height, which is 1 right now. So now it should be a very short trunk. Oh, we need to call the function, of course. Render, and let's move. Alright, so there's our super short Christmas tree. Let's start with some branches. I'm probably gonna make the branch a separate scene. Is that smart? Let me think about it. Yeah, that's smart. Alright. Just create a new folder. Scenes. Create a new scene. Branch. 3D scene. And first we'll just use the trunk model, and then later we'll create a nice model with all the pine cones. We're gonna rotate that to Z negative, which is forward. And then let's add a branch script. And now we're just gonna give it one variable length, which will be a float, and we'll set it default to 0.2. Oh. And then in the ready function we'll scale this baby. Yeah, we'll just scale the whole thing to that length, so we don't get very fat, short branches. And then in the tree we'll set a new variable, amount of branches. Let's start with 300 branches for now. And then in the render function, is it in the render function? Yeah, fuck it. We'll go for I in range. We're gonna add in all those branches. So let's grab that branch scene. We'll say var new branch equals branch dot instantiate. New branch dot position dot y equals. So we're gonna give it a random position along the entire trunk. So just along this entire thing. I think it doesn't matter, we can just go random and it will disperse nicely. If that isn't the case, we'll do some kind of spiral function to nicely fill in the tree. but for now we'll just do random. And we probably don't want them to spawn in the floor. Like there's always a little bit of empty trunk in every Christmas tree, and then the branches start spawning. So we'll set a variable for that as well. I'll call it start height. Next video, yeah, I hope soon. I've been really slacking on making videos. Well, actually, I've been making a lot of videos. I've just haven't been posting them. I got like 12 projects that never made it to a state in which I wanted to post about them. I can show them later. I got one game actually almost finished. This little 2D platformer. It's quite cool. Let's see. Start height 15 centimeters. We'll see if that's too much. We'll see. So we're going to set that branch position to that start height, and the maximum will be that height. And then we'll just add child new branch so we can see it. Oh yeah, sorry. Random F looks like this. So it's going to be height. Oh no, wait, it does go like that. It's just start F range, right? Yeah. So there's our Christmas tree. You can see all the branches are beautifully looking at one side. So let's just randomize that rotation. Rotation dot y equals, we're going to do another random f. We're going to go 0 to degrees, 2 radiant, 360. And now you can see, let's actually move that camera in a little bit. Yeah, that's probably better. So now you can see all the little trunks of the Christmas tree. I think that starting height is good. Of course the lengths are not good. So let's make them first into this giant cone shape, like the default Christmas tree shape. And later we'll add a function to make custom shapes. I think that will be really cool. So we're gonna need to scale this. And it's probably going to be based on that position.y. Let's first just directly plug in that y position. And I think we're now going to get an inverted Christmas tree. Oh, that's doing nothing. Oh, it's because we're setting the scale in the branch script. Because I already made this. I just need to call length. Yeah, beautiful. Some kind of biblically accurate Christmas tree. Let's set the height a little higher. Yeah, so it's looking very cursed. Kind of cool. Let's invert that. So we go position minus height. And let's move that camera a little more back so I can see what is going on. So that's a very wide Christmas tree. So let's try and scale that in a little. divide the whole thing by 2. It's a little better. 3. That's more Christmas tree shaped. Alright, so now let's match that bottom length to the width we set earlier. This variable. So how are we going to do that? So by default, it's insanely long. So let's think about this. The branch default size is 2, and at the bottom it's getting multiplied by 2, which is the maximum width, so it's going out to 4. Is that what you actually see in the project? 2 squares is 1 meter, so 1, 2, 3, yeah, it could totally be 4. Yeah, so that makes sense. So let's actually set this branch to 1 meter. Yeah, it's just easier for the maps if the branch is 1 meter, and then we'll work with it. Let's check it now. Oh, wrong scene. Yeah, so I think that's right. The bottom there are 2 meters. So if we want that actual height, I'm gonna have to divide this whole thing by the height to get to normalize it. This will make sure that the bottom branches are always 1 meter, which is correct, even if we adjust the height. Is that true? Yeah. So no matter how tall the tree gets, the branches will always be 1 meter at the bottom now. And now we can multiply that by that width variable, which will do nothing now because it's just 1. So you can see bottom branches are a length of 1, and if we adjust that width variable, for example 3. Okay, 3 is hard to see, but it is going out 3 meters. Let's set it to 2. Yeah, so it needs to go out 4 of these bottom grids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right on that edge right there. And I think that's correct. Let's scale down this tree a little bit again. Alright, so it's time to add better visuals for those branches, because the trunks just look really weird. I'll actually give the default trunk, the actual trunk, this one in the middle, I'll give it a quick material, something brown. Where did oh yeah, it's a model, of course. Editable children. And a material. Not too dark. That should be fine. Let's turn the sun around so we actually have light on the right side. Where's the sun? Alright. And now, how are we gonna make those pine cones? You have a question? Yeah, please ask. Sorry, I'm not reading chat a lot. I use your tutorials, they're really helpful. Thank you, man. Thanks for watching. Ask away your questions. I'll try and read chat a little more often. And in the meantime, I'm gonna set up these pines. And for this, I'm just gonna use 3D sprites, I think. I'll show you what I mean. I'll create a texture of 1/28 and maybe even larger. A very wide texture, and I'm just gonna have it be opaque. And then what I'm gonna do is just draw in a bunch of pines. A little bit wider than that. I'm just gonna add a bunch of random pines like this. Let me erase that shit. Yeah, it'll need to be a little bit thicker. You're gonna have to trust me on this process. It's gonna look really weird at first, but I think it will turn out really nicely. So what I'm gonna do with this texture is I'm gonna add 3 to every part of the branches, and I'll just rotate them around randomly. And I think you won't be able to tell that it's a flat texture by then. So let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna add a mesh instance. Let's add it with a plane first, or just a quad. And then I'll create a source material override. As the albino, I'll load in that branch. And then I'll enable alpha transparency. And then I'm gonna need, yeah, perfect. See what I mean? I think this might just work if we have enough branches. Let's remove that center trunk. I am 27. Hey, you used my third-person controller for your first commercial game. Thank you so much, dude. I hope it turns out well for you. Feel free to share it. You can send it to my email, lucky.business@gmail.com. I do viewer showcases sometimes. Can get a little bit of exposure for you. Alright, so we've got a little bit of problems here on the top of the tree. I'm not sure if you can see that on YouTube, but it's spazzing out a little. And I don't think it's rendering correctly, or it's casting shadows upon itself. Let's disable the shadows for now. See if that fixes that weird bug. It's looking a little better. Let's add some color to this. Oh. So I made that texture in white because then I can modulate the albedo right here. Because I'm probably gonna add different colors of branches. Oh, not a branch. Alright, so that's looking a little Christmas tree. Of course, the branches are way too straight. And it's still doing this weird lighting bug. Yeah, so that's the Z fighting we're seeing at the top of the tree. You see that flickering in and out? So we probably... How are we gonna fix that? We can add in that backlighting. Let's open to unshaded for now, see if that fixes. And so now we got an unshaded tree, but you can see that Z fighting is gone, so it is that lighting issue. And what's actually happening here is it's not sure which of the two planes is in front. And so when we cross this mark, you see right there, it thinks the other one is in front, and so it puts the whole image in front of the other one, which creates that flickering. So we might have to split it up into 4 different planes, which isn't actually a lot of work. I can just do that. Let's have a look. So that fixes that flickering. Alright, let's add a bit of random rotation to those branches, up and down. Which is gonna be in what axis? X axis. 10 degrees maximum and minus 10 degrees minimum. Oh. So that's adding some variety. But now the branches can hit into the ground because they turn down so much. So let actually set that minus a little lower. And let's also adjust the base width. And that red trunk is way too bright. It's showing through everything. So you are gonna need to be way more muted. That's better. And now this is a problem I already thought about a little bit. It's the branches are looking way too thin because they're just straight planes. As you can see, when we look at them straight on, they're basically invisible. So when the tree rotates towards you, all the branches disappear and it just looks a little weird. So what we might do is create a new texture. And we're gonna do the same thing we did with the last texture. Only we will... we will make it straight on. So we're gonna add another plane like in between these, like these subsections. So when you look straight on, you still see something. And we'll just start like that and then just add a bunch of random ones in there. And let's see. I'll add another quad in here. Quad. New source material override, transparent alpha. Load in that texture. And we again need to do them from both sides. And it's way too big. This one's gonna be Z fighting again. Let's see if we can fix that later. So it is super obvious when you know what to look for. Let's see how it looks in the project. So as you can see here, they are flickering in and out a little bit, but it does add nice volume to the base of the tree. I might actually have to tweak these transparency values a little bit. Let's try it on scissor. Yeah, so that creates this super sharp look. I don't like it. This one is going to create that noisy look, which is actually kind of the way a tree looks. But yeah, it's super flickery. I don't like it either. So we'll stick with this and we'll have to figure something out to fix that volume. Because I think it looks a little too scrawny down here, you know? It's not a nice full Christmas tree, it's just a little thin. Let's see. I am gonna add back in the trunk and I'm just gonna scale it down a little. I'm sure this will also help with giving the tree a little more volume. And we'll give this one a material as well. Oh, so it doesn't stick out so much. Let's do a nice dark green. It would be better if there are two triangles. What do you mean two triangles? So those branches are sticking out because they're too bright. Let's make them darker. Oh. Alright, now one easy fix we could do to make this tree look a little fuller is just give it a lot more branches, of course. Which we will do after I've scaled down this trunk a little, because I think it's too fat. And now let's just double the amount of branches. So that is looking a lot nicer. Let's add in the shadow from the sun again. So what is stunning me right now is why is the center of the tree looking so dark? Because the texture looks dark when looking from the bottom, which makes sense because that's not where the light is hitting. But right here, all of these should be on top, especially these on the bottom. You can see they're also like dark, like you're looking at them from beneath. No, its scales are right. I thought maybe there was some negative scaling. I'm just tweaking some visuals, trying to find something nice. Is it something with the lighting? Yeah, so it's definitely with something with that light. So I'm liking that a lot more. Let's see if we can light it up with a couple of Omni lights. I think we can make this work. Let's add a little warm floodlight right above the camera. And then we'll add a harsher blue light in the back. This is looking quite nice. It's giving like a more fluffy feel to the tree, which is what I was looking for. think we might even be able to do without those these caps. Alright, that's looking like a Christmas tree. I like it. Random color to the leaves. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe darker at the bottom and lighter at the top. That's how Christmas trees look, right? Do like a nice gradient. I'm also thinking I'm gonna need sub branches. So like smaller branches coming off this main branch. But I think first I want to add some ornaments, and then we'll get back into branches. So, how we're gonna add ornaments? They're probably gonna be part of the branch because we want them all to be at the end of the branch. Let's just test how that looks. Saying this were possibly generated ornaments. Maybe a little deeper into the tree. Alright, so that's too deep. So they should be somewhere around here, not all the way at the end because then they'll look like they're floating, but I think something like that is nice. And now they're getting scaled with the branches, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does kind of work. Shall we do this very dirty to begin with? Sure. So I'll just give this one a nice red material, very metallic material. High specular, low roughness. Beautiful. So there's still definitely going some... Oh my god. Are they all inverted? All the branches are inverted. That's why the lighting isn't working, right? Why are they all inverted? You can see when I added the Christmas ball on the top of the branch. In the actual scene, they're below. So somewhere I scaled this branch -1. Let's find out where. Just setting position, just setting the length. Ah, it's right here. Oh my god. Oh, I see what I'm doing. Let me just check if that's right. Yeah, so all of the branches are negatively scaled. I see. That explains a lot. Yeah, look, now it's looking the right color. And now they're hanging below the branches. Way better. We might even be able to add that sun back in. Yes. Ah, it's beautiful. Okay, but I actually liked it without the sun because it gives more of a Christmas vibe at night. So we'll continue like this. looks beautiful. Let's actually add a back wall. Alright, these ornaments, I was gonna hack them in. And I'm actually gonna fix up that branch code because it annoyed me once before. So I'll add all of these into the trunk. And then I'll just scale that trunk. Yeah. It needs to be divided by 2 because everything is length of 2. Yeah, and now all the ornaments are the same size and they're in a giant cylinder around the tree. So let's set their position again. Let's call this one ball. Let's set it to minus length. So now they're at the right spot. We'll move them in a little bit. Oh, that's out because they're in negative space. It's gonna be plus. Oh, that's super trippy. So we're gonna add a couple more variables here. For has ball, it's gonna be a boolean, and by default it's gonna be false. Then for ball color, it's gonna be a color, and by default it's gonna be let's just grab this color. Can I not get an RGB value from this? Well, we'll just do pure red. 1, 0, 0. And now, how do you change the albedo color of a surface override again? This is what we want. Albedo color, so we're gonna have to go into ball.mesh.get surface override. Zero dot ooh. Hold on, I'm gonna have to Google this 1 second. Get surface override material, good. I've struggled with this before, and I know it's not exactly how you expect it to work. I'll give you guys something to look at while I troubleshoot this. Oh, of course it crashes. Let's see, it should be like this. And then we can use those property paths, right? Let's just set it to green. Yes, perfect, so that's working. So here we can get the ball's color, and we'll even add a ball size. Alright. And now in the tree we'll be able to give the branches ornaments if we need to. And we'll just do that here. So if he doesn't have a ball, if this branch doesn't have a ball, we'll go ball.queue_free, remove it and return this function. Else we'll set all those positions. So now there should be no more balls. Exactly. And then here we'll go if random I in range 0 dot ball spawn rate. So 1 in every 10 branch will have a Christmas ball. So they're more dense at the top because the branches there are shorter, so they spawn closer together, which makes it look a little weird. Something we'll have to fix. I also think the ball amount could be a little higher. 1 in every 5 branch. And then we'll want to create a couple of colors. So let's see. A gold one. Yeah, probably. So how will you distribute the colors? Just randomly? Yeah, sure. We'll do 3 colors and we'll do it random. Ball color equals random I. So we'll generate a random int going from 0 to 4. And then we'll say if ball color equals 1, we'll do a gold ball. And if ball color equals 2, this can actually be 3. If ball color equals 2, we'll do a green one, blue one. Hello, Trident. I really gotta get used to reading chat more. Blue Christmas ball. I'm not sure which color are they. Gold, red. We'll do blue for now. So why are they all still red? What is going on? Let's read through it. Hashball equals 2, generates a random int. Let's print that int. So that's correct. So ball color is being passed into the branch. Oh, I know. I know. They're all using the same material. Yes, okay, so this is not gonna work. We can do this, but then we'll need to create a custom material for every ball. It's the way Godot works. It creates this one resource and stores it in memory, and all the Christmas balls are linking to that same material. So if we change the color of one, we'll change the color of every single one. So what we could do is we make every material unique. But then we'll have a lot of this duplicate materials, because every single yellow ball will be a duplicate of another. What we instead can do is just create the 3 materials we want and loop through those. So we'll create a resources folder and a material folder. And then we'll create a couple of standard materials. Yellow ball. And, oh wait, it's actually easier if we just go like this, save as. Oh. And then we can just adjust the color. And save it again. Red ball. Purple ball. Yeah, that's good. Save as resources, materials. Purple ball. And then we'll do one more, make unique again. Oh no, I overwrit the... Yeah, I need another yellow. Yellow ball, yes. Resources, materials, a yellow ball. Alright, and then this script is gonna hold a reference to all those ball materials. And then instead of passing it a color, we'll pass it along that index. Oh no, you know what we'll do? We'll pass it along the material. Call it ball mat, ball mat. Perfect, and then this tree scene is gonna have all the materials, just to avoid those duplicate materials. And then we'll create a little array for that, ball mats, which will be an array of, doesn't really matter, no, I don't need to declare that. And then ball mats equals purple ball dot instantiate. How do I instantiate the material again? Let's see if this will work. So for ball 1, the ball material. Oh no, we can just set that new branch dot ball material equal to ball materials. It's the array we just created, and then that index. Index 3 is too high, you're absolutely right. Ah, beautiful. So why are the branches or the balls spanning above the branches again? You see that? There's no branch above this ball. Or it's like clipping in there, maybe. Let's have a look. It's because they're too far out. 10 centimeters in. It's too much. 5 centimeters. That's alright. So we're gonna need to fix up the distribution, because in the top we need a lot less balls, because otherwise they're gonna be bumping into each other and it just looks weird. So we're actually gonna create a little function here. Here, whether it spawns a ball or not is purely based on this random number between 1 and 5. But we want to take into account the current height of the branch, which is right here. The lower we are, the higher percentage we want. So what we can do, we'll set this to a random f range, and we want to check if it's equal to 1, just less than 1. Which will give us about the same amount, but what we can do now is we can subtract the inverted position. Yeah, so now you can see it's only spawning at the bottom, but we want to tweak that a little. So now it is heavier on the bottom than it is on the top, but this is wrong because it is supposed to be height. So what we're doing here is we're adding onto that ball spawn rate. We're adding on the height, making it so the higher it is in the tree, the less likely it is to be below 0, making it less likely for balls to spawn up higher in the tree. can up that ball spawn rate to see what it actually looks like. So it's looking a lot more natural. We still have these clumps that I don't like, but at least they're not all clumped at the top here. They are more nicely distributed. So let's turn that down again. Beautiful. I feel like this tree needs a little star on the top, and I should reach it. Tree looks amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's model a quick star to go at the top of the tree. I can actually do it in here. Now, how would I model a star in Blender? Probably like this. A star has 5 points, so it needs to be 10. And then I'll need to it's beautiful. That's pretty good. Let's join these two together. And let's export that. Let's actually move it to the world origin. And then let's export that and call it star. Oh. And then in the main scene, in the tree, we'll add in that star. Now it's got the trunk in the star model. Hold on. Only export selected objects. That's better. And then in that tree script, we'll need to move the star to the top of the tree. Let's clean up the script a little bit. Star.position.y equals this. So it is giant, which is kind of funny, but not exactly what we want. So let's just scale that down a little. That's more appropriate. Let's give it a material. I think we might be able to just use that gold material for the balls. Editable children, yellow ball. That's pretty good. Let's get another camera angle on this. And I'm gonna turn up the starting height of the tree a little, because there's balls spawning in the ground. And let's just also turn up the height. It's more of a cool Christmas tree. Alright, I like it, I like it. I'm just gonna turn down the brightness of that grid material in the back, so it doesn't take the focus off the beautiful tree. And let's play with the lighting a little more. Maybe that's overdoing it. Alright, beautiful. We don't need that cube at the bottom anymore. Let's turn up that starting height even more. Let's even see if it's working for one. Yeah, okay, so it is working. 50 centimeters. Yeah, that's alright. So, next thing obviously is lights. You play the scene, you are getting the branches. Crazy gamer yet. So we're generating the branches here in code. It's a super simple function. We're just looping through this amount of branches variable, which is currently 600. And then we're just adding all the branches in at random heights and in random lengths. And these are the branches, this little scene. And then this scene is the tree. And then combining that, you get this little Christmas tree. So, next thing shall be lights, I think. You want to have some nice strings of light covering the whole tree, which shouldn't be too hard. The perfectness of the tree in the middle is still kind of bugging me, but it's fine. Let's add some lights. So how I want to do this is I'll create a lights preset. So what I'll do in here is hide all this. Add a cylinder. And this is going to be our tree. And this one is a width of 2, which we don't want. We want to have it 1 by 1. And we'll scale this one to 0. So this is the tree in our game engine. This is just a mock-up. It's not actually going into the engine like this. And now we'll model this nice spiral of lights. And then we'll scale it appropriately in the engine to match our generated tree. So how we will do this is probably a path node. Will we use a path node? We can also use a curve modifier. Well, let's just start with path. Add a circle. How do you merge path nodes again? Join? No. Connect? No. Google? Yes. Join to curve. Points in curve blender. Ah. Perfect. Scale along the 3D cursor. And then let's start pulling in these curves. That's good, that's good. This one can be a little higher. And this one can be a little lower. Alright, I like that. One more, one more. Alright, so now let's create that string of lights. So I'll add a cylinder, make it super low poly. Maybe 3 even, yeah, really doesn't need much. Move it off to the side. Scale along the medium point again. And now let's create that segment. So now we have to create all these little lights. And I think the way Christmas lights work is that there's just 2 or 3 at one given point, and then there's for a little bit nothing. Add an emission for the lights. Array modifier and a follow path modifier. Alright, so that looks alright. I think they need to be a little smaller. Let's try export this, see what it looks like in Godot. Mesh, apply all modifiers, include selected only, lights. So then we'll need to get that lights object, and then in the generate function we're going to need to set the lights dot scale equal to x is going to be the width of the tree, the y is going to be the height minus that starting height. And why did my idle completely stop working? I don't know. And the last one's going to be the width again. And then we'll move it up by that starting position. So lights that position dot y equals starting position. So the width is not right. Maybe it's times 2. It's almost right, I'm not sure what I'm missing. I'm just trying to fit these lights to the tree. Alright, I think that works a little better. I think we might even be able to cheat a little bit and add a second one in for free. If we just offset it. Alright, I like it. The lights are too small. So let's hop back into Blender real quick. Nice, and then let's redo the second one. It's starting to look like a Christmas tree. It needs a little more ornaments, I think. Let's just crank up the ball amount first. Hey, hello. Aladdins. How you guys doing? You guys got any fun Christmas plans? Alright, so this is all working as expected. I think I'm gonna quickly create a 3D model for the Christmas balls, so they're not just balls. So let's create a UV sphere. This is way too much. Let's do 1612. Should be completely fine. Scale half, so they're 1 meter by default, but I can scale them up later. And then let's try and get that top edge. Maybe this one. Looks a little too small or too big. We'll go right there. And now this one is going to need the first material would just be its normal color, which we're going to override in Godot. And then we'll give it a second material of gold, which will be this top. Yeah, I think that's fine. So let's export this as ball. And then here we're gonna add in for some reason I'm unable to click my UI. Ah, that's good. Yeah. So I think we can just delete this and replace it with this one. Yep. Is there an advanced third-person controller series coming? Maybe. Third-person controllers, I really want to get more into them, but IK is a big part of third-person controllers, which is currently still experimental, and I'm really hoping that Godot 4.4 will add a couple new features to make IK and especially animation blending a little more streamlined in Godot. And then I'll definitely come out with third-person controller tutorial. Because it's definitely possible right now, but there's a couple of little hacks you need to do to get them working nicely with animation blending, for example, and a couple of IK things. And I feel like it's going to be added soon to Godot. So if I would make a tutorial series now explaining these little hacks you gotta do, I feel like the tutorials will become obsolete super fast because of Godot updating. So we'll have to see, and if it's not in 4.4, I'll reconsider, because it's probably going to be a while until 4.5. So we'll have to see, but I think 4.4 is going to be a nice place to start a third-person game in Godot. Alright, so we got the balls working, we got the lights working, we got the star. I would quickly want to do this. So what else can we add to this tree? Maybe some presents underneath. I've only now noticed that these bottom branches are absolutely giant. Let's do a couple presents underneath, randomly generated. For that, we're going to increase that starting height once again to 1 meter even. That might be a little high. 0.8. Yeah, that's fine. And then within the turntable, we're going to create a new node that holds all these presents. And then we'll add a script to this. And this will be a super simple script. Because all it's going to do is it's going to spawn in a bunch of presents at the bottom of the tree, which is just picking a random position, picking a random size, and adding them in. So let's start with a 1x1 cube. Yeah, move it up to the origin. And then in here, we'll export var amount of boxes. And we'll start with 7. We'll also grab that box scene. And this is going to be so similar to the branch code that I'm actually just going to copy it over for now. Remove all of this. We'll say amount of boxes. var new box. It's going to be that box scene. I'm going to instantiate it. Then I'm going to add it. Where did I add this box script to? Alright, so there are 12 presents right in the center. Let's just give them a random scale for now. So new box.scale equals vector 3.1 times random f in range. The smallest they can be will be 10 centimeters, and the biggest they can be will be half a meter. Let's try that first. then let's also give him a random position. New box dot position equals vector 3. X is gonna again be that random f. 2 meters. Negative 2 meters and 2 meters is gonna spawn an area of 2 by 2 under the tree. For the y value we're gonna say 0 because we want them to be at the floor. And the z value will again be that random. So that area is a little too big, as you can see. We'll actually create a variable for this so we can tweak it easily. For spawn area size, let's set it to 1. Alright, so now we want to rotate them, of course. Dot rotation dot y equals another random float from 0 to 360 degrees. Alright. Let's even make that spawn area a little smaller. So they are going to be clipping into each other. Are we going to fix this? We can do an absolutely goofy fix and make them physics objects, which is pretty funny. I'll think about it a little bit. Yeah, they do really have a tendency to spawn inside of each other, huh? Let's move that starting height back down so the presents are nicely under the tree. Basic UI tutorial. Yeah, for sure. I think UI is pretty simple. I've got this video explaining every UI node in Godot. And once you have a feel for how to position your nodes across the screen, it gets pretty easy. I can do a tutorial. I was thinking of doing a tutorial on grid-based inventories like Minecraft. But yeah, if you guys want to see it, for sure. I didn't think there would be a lot of need for such a tutorial. But it could be fun. 3D UI is also very fun to make. So I'm not liking the way these presents distribute. I'm gonna fix that up real quick. So what I'm gonna do for the presents is I'm gonna create a little placing arm that places a box right here and then rotates by some amount, and then places a box right here, making sure that these boxes have a certain amount of space between them. So we have a nice nicely distributed boxes all around the tree. And then I'll scale them up and stuff. And maybe I'll even do like one big box at the start of this arm, a smaller one at the end to have some nice distribution. Sounds good? Yeah, I think that sounds good. So I'll create a vector 2. Placing arm equals vector 2. And this one is going to be var box distance from tree. It's going to be the length of that placing arm. And then we're going to need to create, or we need to calculate this angle A, which will be equal to placing angle will be equal to the amount of boxes. So 360 divided by the amount of boxes, because this is the amount of boxes and the whole circle is 360. So this little part A is going to be 360 divided by the amount of boxes in the circle. I think that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So then we'll set the position equal to that placing arm, and then at the end we'll placing arm equals placing arm dot rotate placing angle. Wait. Non-existing vector 2. How is vector 2 not being found? Non-existing vector 2. Did I miss an update? Oh, of course. Float is going to be equal to 1. Yeah, so you're going to need a vector 3, I'm sorry, which is going to be this x, a 0, and this one's y. Vector 3. Alright, so that's working how I want it. You can see they're being nicely distributed now. Let's dial in that size. And let's make that a little smaller. Cool. And now they're being placed in a perfect circle, as you can see, which is kind of neat, but not exactly what we want. So we'll add some variation to that. So what we'll do is when placing one of these boxes, we'll take that arm and we'll multiply it by some value to get a little bit more variation, so they're not all in a perfect circle. Which we'll do right here. For placing this offsets. I'll do that from 0.8 till 0.2. And then just multiply that x and multiply the y by that. Could even be a little higher. that's more what I want. Beautiful. Now we got some nice non-intersecting presents under a Christmas tree. Let's once again move the tree down a little. Yeah, that's nice. And let's make these presents actually look like presents. How we're gonna do that? A present has this little ribbon. So let's first, for now, add a script to this. And we'll use those Christmas ball materials for now. Maybe we'll create some new ones later. Box. And then we'll add in some ribbons, which I'm gonna completely hack in like this. But it looks like presents. Maybe we can add a little bow tie on top. Yeah, we could. And I think we can also randomize the sizes a little more. Alright, so let's model a bow tie. Let's add in a cube, scale it to 0.5, and then let's add in a plane. Why is this plane behaving so weirdly? About that size. Let's add in a mirror modifier. It's a very low poly looking bow tie. Let's see if we can make this a little more interesting. Maybe add, what's it called again? The modifier that thickens everything up? Solidify. Generate, solidify, yeah. Let's see how that looks. Actually, let's move it to the world origin. That's not too bad, actually. It's not really to scale with the rest of the ribbons. I think that's pretty cool. Alright, so I got about 20 minutes left. What else can I add? You guys have any suggestions for the last thing? Maybe some more ornaments. Maybe I'll hang my little logo guy on the tree. UI, I'm adding a... Oh, that's a fun idea, yeah. Good call. I'll add in a little UI where you can press a regenerate button and like tweak the height and the width and the ball amount and the present amount. Yeah, that's good. Alright. Let's add in a control node. And I'll show you guys how I position my UIs usually. So always starting with a control node that covers the whole screen. Setting it to cover the whole screen there. And then I'll probably want a big generate button at the bottom here. So what I'll do, I'll add a margin container. And inside of there, I'll add a button. Then I'll anchor that margin container to the bottom, like that. The bottom one here. And I'll make the button say generate, and here in the margin container in theme overrides constraints you can set a margin, and I'll just set this 20. You can see now it's off the ground a little bit. Then in the button I'll go into theme override font sizes and make that font a lot bigger. So that's pretty good. And then let's add UI for setting the values, for which I'll use sliders. So I'm gonna go into that control node, add a VBox container. VBox containers hold a bunch of elements in a row. And then within that VBox container, I'll add an HBox container. Because HBox containers hold elements horizontally and VBox containers hold them vertically. So in the HBox, I'll add a label. I'll say height. And then in the HBox container, I'll add a slider. And I'll just go into layout, minimum size, because right now it's way too small. And we'll say something like, let's do make 200. And now you can see it is misaligned, which always frustrates me a lot. And it is able to be fixed somewhere in here, but I always forget where. Yeah, so right there. I think aligning it to the bottom actually looks then... It's highly dependent on which font, on how it looks the best, but we'll keep it like this. So we have a slider for the height. We'll duplicate that all HBox container. We'll make one for the width. And then we'll do one for amount of Christmas balls. So we're going to create a little panel for this, so it's a little bit easier on the eyes. So I'll add a panel container. Oh. And in the panel container, I'll add a margin container so we can add that margin again. And in there we'll add our sliders. And then let's set those margins again. And then I'll actually add another label to that VBox container on the top and just say settings. Let's align all of these at the end so the sliders line up nicely. And let's center this one. Let's have a look at it. Alright, so that's not too bad. So then we can tweak the settings here and regenerate the tree. Let's just add one more margin container. I use a lot of margin containers. Let's add one more margin container around the settings thing. So it is a little off the side. Alright, that's good. And now we'll have to set these values for these sliders. So the height, I think the maximum should be something like 3. What is it now? Yeah, right now it's 3. Can it go any taller? Yeah, so we'll do 3.5. Maximum is going to be 3.5 and the step is going to be 0.05 and the current value is going to be 3. And for the width, right now we're at 1.5. Let's say maximum of 2. And then for the ball amount, we'll just keep this between 1 and 100 and I'll have to fix up this math real quick so this actually makes sense. Alright, so we're not gonna call the rendered function, we will call them at start, but we're gonna create a cleanup function actually. clean up. And here we're gonna remove all those branches. So actually in the tree, I'm gonna create a new node 3D, which is gonna be branches. And then we'll add all those branches to that branches node, and then on cleanup we can just go for each branch. No, that thing's like this for each, right? How did I forget how to do a for each loop in Godot? Let me check it out. For each loop Godot. Oh no, it is right. Alright. Branch dot. So then we'll connect up the generate button just to check it out. Where did I leave it? Right there. We're going to nodes here on the top right. Pressed. Connect it to the turntable. On generate button pressed. Oh no, we're connected in. Don't connect it to the turntable, connect it to the tree, of course. On generate button pressed. And then we'll clean up. So let's just see that in action. Yep, you can see all the branches disappearing. We'll also want all the boxes to disappear. So we're going to create a super similar function in the boxes right here. Say clean up. And we'll just call that function from here. And that's actually a public function. Let's see that in action as well. Yeah, beautiful. And then after cleanup, we want to generate again with the new values. So we'll set the height and the width. And we're going to set those equal to... Oh, that's disgusting. Let me just grab those sliders. Let's actually name them height slider, width slider, ball slider. Let's grab all of those. Not like that. Let's grab all of those in here. Alright, I'll type it out. Equals height slider dot value equals width slider dot value, and then we'll recall that generate function, and we'll also call boxes dot render. Let's see if that works. So we have a couple problems here. The boxes are not cleaning up nicely. And the width is set to 0, so let's move that up a little. Super short tree. Yeah, super short white tree. Super tiny tree. So the boxes are not clearing up. Why not? Ah, I'm never calling them boxes that clean up. Super tall, skinny tree. So this is the biggest tree possible. I think that's fair for the window size. Alright, and the last thing we'll connect is that ball amount. And then I'm gonna have to head off and have a Christmas dinner with my dad. Let's see, how are we gonna utilize this? So I think like, if we set the spawn rate of the balls to 10, it's 1 in 10, and there's super few balls, yeah. What about 20? So this will be the lowest amount of balls that you can get. Let's remember that, 20. And the highest is going to be 1.1, I think. Yeah. Okay, so for that ball slider, we'll set the minimum to 1.1 and the maximum to 20. And the step will be 0.1. So is inverted now, which I'll actually fix. Right, it is inverted. Let me check first before I fix a bug that might not even exist. So all the way up is no balls, right? Yeah, almost no balls. And then all the way down is max balls. Yeah, so let's invert that. So it's going to be minus. And then a full flip is going to be 20, right? So now this is no balls. And this is max balls. Yes. Maybe. Oh no, it is right. It is right. Super skinny tree. How long have I been using Godot? 2 years now. Well, I used a little bit before that, but it was very sporadic. Like once every month. For 2 years I've been like grinding it. Well guys, I'm gonna change and move off to dinner. I want to thank you all for coming to my lovely Christmas stream. I might do another stream tomorrow. I'll have to check the statistics. Hello, hello, very real person. But yeah, for now I'm gonna head out. I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll upload this stream as a full video, so if you missed the beginning, you can always watch it back. Yeah, maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow. Otherwise I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.